Every sports fan loves an underdog story. And in the NFL, it happens all the time. Just look at Josh Dobbs right now with the Minnesota Vikings. He just got there a week ago, and he's already had 2 games where he played very well. Obviously, in Minnesota, Kirk Cousins is the guy, but you know that Josh Dobbs will get himself more opportunities the better he plays. And you love to see that in sports. We've seen all time greats do the same thing. Even a guy like Brady was not expected to really do much coming out, and he became the greatest of all time. Drew Brees, same thing with him. He did end up getting replaced in San Diego. He came to New Orleans, and he had an all time great career, became one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. But what about the opposite of that? Or at least the guys who do the first step, they get their opportunity and they shine, but it doesn't last much longer and they become a one-hit wonder, or in this case, a one-game wonder. Today, that's what I'm going to be looking at, and looking at 3 performances in NFL history that these players never even got close to replicating once again, and overall did not have long-term careers. But if you are interested in this and you want to see more content like this, leave a like, comment, and subscribe. And I'm going to be dropping videos like this for the rest of 2023, so make sure you don't miss out. But let's get right on into the video. On December 20th, 2009, on a cold day in Kansas City, Jerome Harrison had one of the craziest one-game wonders of all time, as he had 303 total yards in this game and 286 rushing yards, along with 3 touchdowns. But the craziest part about this is the fact that you've probably never heard of who this guy is, and he's 3rd all-time in rushing yards in a single game. That's right, he's only behind Adrian Peterson and Jamal Williams. And to make this even crazier, he only started 10 games. And I made a video about this actually a year ago, talking about the most rushing yards in a single game. I did the top 5, which is how I do a lot of these videos. But he only started 10 games. He only had 2,171 yards in his career. So obviously, this is not a very successful career as a running back. You know, I'm sure he would have hoped for more, but in this single game alone, he had 14% of his career total yards, which is just unheard of. And he might honestly have the greatest one-game wonder of all time, because he's literally 3rd in rushing yards all time in a single game, over 300 yards from scrimmage, which has not been done very many times by a running back. And he did play 2 more seasons after this, but Cleveland did not feel comfortable going forward with him as their lead back until he got let go, and he ended up fizzling out. But Jerome Harrison will always have this 300-yard masterclass to look back onto in his NFL career. On January 1st, 2012, Matt Flynn secured himself a bag, one of the biggest bags of all time for a single game. And to give you guys context, Matt Flynn was a backup to Aaron Rodgers. Ever since he was drafted out of LSU in 2008, he was second fiddle to Rodgers. And Rodgers ended up being incredible, obviously, coming in for Brett Favre after they had that whole quarterback controversy. But Favre was a great all-time legend, obviously, in Green Bay for 15 to 20 years. And in the midst of an all-time great 2011 season by Aaron Rodgers in Green Bay, they found themselves 14-1 going into Week 17. So obviously, you're 14-1 and you've locked up the NFC. There is no reason to play your starters. But the NFC was secured and they rested all these players, so Matt Flynn got to start, and he used this opportunity to shine, as he had the game of a lifetime, going 31 of 44 and throwing for 480 passing yards and 6 passing touchdowns. They beat the Lions in a crazy shootout where Stafford and Flynn combined for the most passing yards in an NFL game ever with 1,000 passing yards, which is actually incredible. And Stafford had 520 yards and 5 touchdowns himself. But Flynn did this, and nobody thought that he wasn't going to be something at least serviceable, you know, like a spot starter and a backup guy. And the Seattle Seahawks ended up giving him a 3-year, $26 million for this one game alone. And he had $10 million on that contract guaranteed. Flynn never even started in Seattle and went to Oakland for a small period of time before finally fizzling out in Green Bay. He did have one nice comeback versus Dallas in 2013, which was a good game, but it didn't lead to him starting. Obviously, Rodgers was the guy at that point. It was far too late, and he never became a starter in this league. but he literally made tens of millions of dollars on one all-time great performance, honestly, if we're being realistic. Because also he doesn't get the reps as a QB1 and all that, but he won a Super Bowl with Green Bay as well in 2010. And he got an A on the group project. I mean, all respect to this guy. And he secured his bag, obviously, in one game. January 1st, New Year's resolution. I got to give it up to Matt Flynn. He's a legend for this. And he had one of the greatest one-game wonders of all time. On November 16, 2014, Jonas Gray had the epitome of a one-game wonder because he had 201 yards and 4 touchdowns in this game. And if he was a solid back who played for a little bit and accumulated some stats, it would be a great performance, but it wouldn't be a one-game wonder because this man had 588 yards in his entire career, and he didn't even play 2 full seasons. He had 5 touchdowns in his career as well, and he had 4 in this single game, accounting for literally 80% of his career touchdowns. He only did play 2 seasons, but he was the definition of that era's Pats teams. As most other teams, this guy probably would have gotten a better shot if he did have a performance like that. But Bill Belichick and the do your job Patriots were not going for that because this man did not get a single carry the next week versus the Detroit Lions. And to be quite honest about this performance, it was mostly the O-line. But that is the case for most running backs. This was a little bit different though. I mean, the O-line, Gronk, Nate Soldier, a lot of these guys were dominantly run blocking, and the Colts were just not able to stop the run much at all that night. Gray also did have a lot of red zone carries, which is why he finished with 4 touchdowns. And none of them were like a big run down the sideline. None of them, he didn't break off any big runs. He didn't break a bunch of tackles. He was just more of a workhorse back, and he got a lot of carries. He got 37 carries. And 5.4 yards per carry is like solid, but it's not elite. And like I said, the line really did dominate this game. But he will be able to look at this game forever and say, I was really that dude. You know, I had a short-lived career, but I mean, I had 200 yards in a game, 4 touchdowns. And it's honestly a great accomplishment. I mean, it's not a record or anything, but he was a practice squad player. He's literally a practice squad player. And like I said, it didn't end up working out for him long term. He did actually end up winning a Super Bowl that year with New England. And, you know, he has hardware. He has that game, and he has a little bit to show for his NFL career. And I'm sure he is proud of that. That's all I have for this one, though. Hopefully, you guys enjoyed this video. And I'm kind of curious. Let me know in the comments if you knew any of these guys before this video. Like I said, I did actually know about most of these guys. I didn't know about Jonas Gray, though, but I did know about most of these guys because I've done prior videos, and I knew about the Matt Flynn stuff from, I don't know, like I've seen that thumbnail and stuff before. But I thought this was a very interesting video concept. I don't know. Let me know if you guys want to see stuff like this, different type of stuff. Let me know suggestions in the comments. I'm open. I like learning about new stuff while I make these videos as well. It's not like I have Matt Flynn and Jerome Harrison stats tucked in my back pocket. Like, you know what I mean? I got to go out and do the research and actually learn and watch the games to talk about these on video. But like I said, that's all I have for this one. Let me know if you enjoyed the video. Leave a like, comment, and subscribe. And I'm out of here. Peace.